Having grown up in war-torn Beirut, Lebanon in the 1970s and 80s, Bayan Yammout knows all too well what many children in the world today face. It's part of why, in addition to being a special education teacher, she is UNICEF Canada ambassador. And Bayan Yammout joins us now for more, and we're so happy to welcome you here.
Glad to be here.
What does a UNICEF ambassador, I mean, you look the part clearly with that vest, looks great, but what does a UNICEF ambassador actually do?
So as the UNICEF Canada ambassador, it's a huge honor, and it's a title that I hold very close to my heart. And actually, I'll tell you how it happened. I was at a conference organized by the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario, and the topic was social justice and the role of Canadian women in promoting social justice locally and globally. And as I was leaving the hall, I saw a UNICEF booth, and it had the items that I had access to as a child growing up in a conflict zone. I froze. I was like looking at the items. And then I spoke to the representative, and she told me, she asked me questions, and she wanted to speak to me after. So I emailed her after the conference, and I told her, I'm a child who grew up in a conflict zone. We received help from UNICEF. My parents were volunteers, and they distributed the humanitarian aids during the war. I would love to be reconnected to UNICEF again and to pay back, to give back. So this is how it started. Next thing I know, they started talking about me becoming a UNICEF Canada ambassador. And to be honest, the first reaction was, well, I don't know if I can do that. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a millionaire.
No, but you've been there. That's the thing.
I've been there, and this is what I said.
You've got real life experience at this.
And I felt, I'm lucky to be a war survivor, but it comes with a huge responsibility, which is to be the voice of children who right now, as we speak, are going through what I went through, if not worse.
So if you're an ambassador, what does that involve doing?
So I'm very lucky to be traveling back and seeing children affected by conflict.
In Lebanon?
In Lebanon, in Jordan. And I listen to their stories. I tell them that they are not forgotten. I listen to their needs, and I come back and I speak to my friends here, and I connect, I engage Canadians with those stories and encourage them to do the right thing and support those children, because it doesn't take much to support them, and they can make it. They are so resilient.
Let's talk about your background, because you've been there, right? You're born in Beirut?
That's right.
You're
not going to say that.
You don't want me to say the year, okay. That's fine. You're a child of the 1970s and 80s, let's put it that way. You grew up and all you knew was war, right? The Civil War was on from the moment you were born.
That's right. So like everyone who grew up in Beirut during the Civil War, we witnessed artillery exchanges between militia, car bombs, rocket attacks. We spent many days and nights in the shelter underground. We missed many school days. The downtown core was completely destroyed. Water was contaminated. It was very difficult, but hope was there.
Why was hope there?
Well, because of so many people were there to help. We could see hope when we got things that we take for granted, like a paper and a pencil. And actually, I'll tell you why that is so important. When we were in the underground shelter, which is basically just a big room, dark, we didn't have electricity, no washroom facility, not even a sink, and you're spending hours and sometimes days. If you have a paper and a pencil and you're a child, you're gonna write, you're gonna draw, you're gonna scribble, you're gonna play, and that's something that you need. And to have that, that's hope. To know that someone is supporting us to be able to continue our schooling, that is hope. For me, I went to UNICEF Peace Camp, and that was the best experience I've ever had.
What's a UNICEF Peace Camp?
So it was a UNICEF initiative, and it happened after a year of heavy bombing. I was in grade 8, and I missed the whole school year. So the UNICEF camp brought kids from different backgrounds in different towns into that place, and we would sing and dance and do arts and crafts and play outside, which is, again, was not possible for a whole year during that time. And it was just beautiful just to be living like a kid and to feel peace, to know how it feels to be a child.
When did you learn English?
Here in Canada.
You did? You did not know English before coming to Canada?
Not really.
Really?
French and Arabic.
Right, of course. Arabic, your first language, and French as well? Huh, but not English. Your English is obviously excellent.
Tried.
Excellent. So how old were you when you came to Canada?
I was 23 years old.
23?
Yeah.
Okay, you know how hard it is to learn a new language after the age of 12, right? So the fact that your English is this good is really terrific.
Thank you.
I know you don't like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I remember when Beirut was called the Paris of the Middle East, and your parents would have grown up and lived in the Paris of the Middle East.
That's right.
You know nothing of that, do you?
No. And every time they would bring this up, it's very hard to imagine. And it wasn't only for me, it's for any child who is born in a conflict zone, and that's all you see. You think this is how life looks like, and this is what normal. And I've met many children who were affected, still affected by the war in Syria. And when you talk about Syria, they don't know if they were 2 or 3 years old when they left their country. Their parents are talking about a country they don't remember. How can they build an identity and the sense of belonging? It is extremely hard.
Do you recall at what point in your life, maybe how old you were, when you came to realize that a permanent state of war is actually not considered normal?
Yeah, that was more in my teens. And for that, I think I'll love to talk to you a little bit about going to school, because that's exactly how I realized that, okay, this is not normal. We have to do something about it. So going to school for us was extremely important, and the needs behind it were different depending on how old you are. So as a young child, going to school was a great distraction. Around you at home, all you hear is a language you don't understand. You hear about politics, about conflict, about militias. And at school is where you hear a language you understand, about fairy tale, math, science, and all the things that are very interesting. And and plus all the social emotional support that you get. So that's why school was very important. And then as a teenager, going to school was more like an act of defiance against those who wanted us to be silent, who wanted to control our future, even though it was very risky to go to school. And sometimes we would take the alleyway or shortcuts because the main road are being targeted by snipers. We used to do it because we understood that if we don't, then there's no future for us. And as a girl, my choices were very limited. I can stay home, get married at 14 or 15, start a family, and that's it. Or I can risk my life, but go to school and be whatever I want to be in the future. And even as a boy, also your choices are very limited. You can start working at a young age, make money, or you can join a militia. And in that case, weapons and training and all of that is for free. And they are very motivating, and they will draw you in to continue the circle of violence. Or, again, risk your life and get the education that you want.
Bayan, I have to ask you, why you seem very put together and very normal and strong and resilient. How is it that you're not all messed up from having spent the first many, many years of your life living in such violent conditions?
Well, kids are very resilient and they are very strong. And I want the viewers never to underestimate the strength of a child who grew up in a conflict zone. And that's why we need to support them, because they are able to make it. They are able to be who they want to be in the future, to be skilled workers, to be strong leaders. And their countries, they will need that in the future, because war, it does end at one point. But also, you'll never forget those experiences. Until now, I still have nightmares and flashbacks. But I think going back to becoming UNICEF Canada ambassador, I was able to open this bubble in my head and use it in a positive way. So I use these memories from a bitter past to in a positive way to inspire others and tell them that it's so important to help those children who are living in conflict zones.
We want to show some pictures of that. Sheldon, I'm in the middle of page 2 here. Can you start to bring up some of these photos under question 10? And Bayan, maybe you can tell us what we're going to be looking at here, because you do get around.
Yes,
you
I
have
do.
been to some very interesting places in this world. Where's that?
So this is in Ketermeya. It's an informal refugee settlement in Lebanon. We go there. I go there with my family, and this year we had 2 other friends join us. We've been doing this for 6 years. We go every summer, and basically I just use my skills as a teacher to bring hope for these children. So we turn the informal settlement into a fun fair. So I plan the same activities that I would plan in my school, from painting to bingo to games, arts and crafts. And these kids look forward to our visit every year, and it feels so good to see their smiles and just to tell them that they matter and that people even far away, as far as Canada, they think of them and they know they exist.
UNICEF gave us a clip of you in action. Shall we look?
Sure.
Sheldon, if you would, let's roll the clip.
I found it very interesting that UNICEF uses community-based approach with Syrian refugees running the programs at Makani centers under the supervision of UNICEF.
This makes the center more responsive to local needs. They cost less to run and are sustainable. Many of the teachers here are war survivors. They left their homes in Syria and have taken refuge in these camps. Some are university students who couldn't graduate because of the war. Now they attend university in Amman and are facilitators at Makani centers. They are true superheroes. They give 100% of their energy and dedication to the children of their own community.
I don't know that word Makani. Makani centers, what does that mean?
So Makani centers, they are funded and run by UNICEF, and they are spaces where they offer learning support services, life skills training, child protection, early childhood education, and lots of social emotional support for the children and their families. So it's a comprehensive program that is a bridge for these children to the regular schooling.
And is that an Arabic word, Makani?
Makani is an Arabic word for my place.
My place.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a wonderful name. My place, okay. And are they run by the residents themselves?
So here's the thing. When they started Makani, it was run entirely by UNICEF. But UNICEF, when they start something, they want to make it sustainable and as effective as possible. So then they gave the responsibility to the refugees themselves to run the programs at Makani under the supervision and the funding of UNICEF. So now the refugees who live in, for example, here in Zatari camp in Jordan and the same in Azra camp, they are running the programs at Makani, and they are so talented.
And how many Makani centers are there?
There are a lot. So in Zatari, there are 13. There's over 120 or 30 in Jordan.
So
they
lots
are
of
very, very popular, and they had helped so many kids.
Lots of kids being helped.
Thousands. So if you think about the numbers between Azraq refugee camp and Zatari refugee camp, both for Syrian refugees in Jordan, there is about 64,000 children.
Your trip to Jordan, I gather you did a little theater outing of some kind with the kids. Is that right?
Yes.
Tell us about that. What happened?
Yeah, so well, as a UNICEF Canada ambassador, I get to go and visit and listen to these stories, but I felt I can do a little bit more. So as a teacher, I thought, well, maybe I can go and I can work with they call them facilitators, the teachers who run the programs. So I went and spent 3 weeks at 2 Makani centers inside Zatari refugee camp, and I basically shared educational tools and strategies in literacy, numeracy, behavior management and classroom management, as well as inclusion. And these are very practical tools that can be done and applied in any setting, regardless of the curriculum, language, or culture.
Did you take an outing, though, to a theater one day to see a play or something like that?
Well, yeah, it wasn't with me. That happened just before I arrived, and that is a very emotional story for me to tell, actually. So these children, and like looking at the camp from outside, you look, and the first thing as a teacher, I think, well, how can any child explore the outside world when they are living in a conflict zone, in a refugee camp? And how can any teacher offer rich learning opportunities for these children when they teach and live inside a refugee camp? And the easy answer for that is to bring the outside world inside. And for that, you need lots of resources and field trips and internet and books, fiction and nonfiction. 3 weeks, I didn't see a single storybook in the hands of the children. And we all know in education how important is literature for these children. And that's something very simple, but very powerful. So I asked, how do they do that? Like how can these kids explore the outside world? And every child who's 7 years or younger came to was born in Zaatari and never left. So then they told me that they actually got an invitation one day to take 200 kids to Amman and watch a play. And it was very challenging to take the kids out. But again, think about the numbers, 200 versus 64,000 in both camps. So they went and I met some of these kids. And what they said to me, it was incredible. I said, well, what did you like about the trip? They said, well, when we were on the bus, it was too noisy. We were scared. We covered our ears with our hands. And then they said, we saw things we've never seen before, like cars and trees and two-story buildings. And how can someone build a two-story building? And again, they are living in a refugee camp and all their houses are basically, they call them caravans, and they are all one story. And then I told them, well, tell me more about the play. So instead, they said, when we went in, we saw stairs and we were so scared. We did not know what to do. They went on their hands and feet because they did not know how to climb stairs. They've never seen stairs in their life. And that's scary because we want them to be ready for the big transition when they transition out of the refugee camp and be ready for real life. And that's why we absolutely need to support them today, because today they are children and they need that support.
I wonder whether any of your students that you teach here in Canada have any idea about this other life that you have. Do they know?
They do. A few years back, I started the Global Citizen Club at my school. And the idea came after I noticed that the children in Canada, they hear lots of stories about children around the world, sad stories that affect them. And it's very important to give them a safe place to discuss those stories and to be comfortable to talk about what's happening and understand that their rights, they are the rights of all the children. So we started the Global Citizen Club, and in that club, we discuss those issues and we raise awareness and funds. And I believe that if the children they have a leadership role in running those fundraising activities, they become strong donors later in life, and also their activities will be more successful. So they are learning to turn their compassion and empathy into action, and action means change.
Wonderful. Do they know about your background in Lebanon and the circumstances under which you grew up?
They do, and they always, the reaction, and I don't share it right away. I think usually in the conversation in a very natural way, I might mention it. And every time I get the same reaction, they say, how come you were a child and growing up in war and now you're our teacher? And that shows that I'm not the only one. If you help those children, they will contribute to society. They will be successful adults, and we need that.
It's a wonderful example and a wonderful story. And we wish you well, Madam Ambassador, in all of your work.
Thank you so much.
Bayan Yammout, UNICEF Canada Ambassador. Salam alaikum.
Thank you. Alaikum salam.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. CPA Ontario is a regulator, an educator, a thought leader, and an advocate. We protect the public. We advance our profession. We guide our CPAs. We are CPA Ontario. And by viewers like you. Thank you.